What up? What up with all my people? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on with y'all YouTube, man? Thank y'all for tuning in to the fans' point of view, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button when y'all come up in here. Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. Like so everybody knows, share, subscribe to the channel. I put the link down there so we can get into some conversations. Man, this is crazy. What's going on today? What is going on? Am I really witnessing Alabama in real time getting BTA by Florida State? Is we just watching that? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. But man, oh my goodness. We got some things to talk about. Y'all. Arch Manning. We got to talk about Arch Manning because that's the title of the show. Is Arch Manning over hype? Is his stock going down? Is it up? Is everybody going to calm down on Arch Manning now and wonder why I and a few others, shout out to my Rawhide fam, Alpha, Neckbone, Law Dog, Cliff, Bishop, and everybody. If I forgot you, everybody that we've been saying, we've been telling everybody for a minute now. Pump your brakes on Arch Manning. We have not seen him play in the SEC yet. Had a couple of games underneath his belt, and everybody just jumped off the ledge. Let's go foul. Let's see what he's got. Ran into an Ohio State team. I mean, a very good Ohio State team. I mean, a lot of people had him underrated. Texas went into this game number 1, which I think is very disrespectful to the guy who we about to watch play. I only got a little bit of time to cook here, right? Because we still got LSU and Clemson coming on later. So I want to be off here by then. But Garrett Nussmeier, if anything, shouldn't he be the number 1 quarterback in the SEC? I mean, I'm just saying he has the most experience in the SEC, besides Tylen Green that's playing Alabama A&M right now at the moment, and a few others. Really though, we honestly they just catapulted him so high and put him at a level to where it's almost unfair to critique him. And my exact take on Arch Manning was he's going to be this year's Shador. And will he run into some of the same problems, right? And I must say, before I get into my whole breakdown and my comments on Arch Manning, that I think his grandfather was correct. I think his grandfather was correct when he's saying that Arch should come back another year. Now, it's still early. I don't want to hit the panic button on nothing. It's still early. He threw some good passes. The receivers didn't help at times, but then there's that inexperience. What he saw with Ohio State today is what he's going to need and what he's going to see in order to be a top team in the SEC. You get what I'm saying, y'all? What up, Cliff? What's going on with you, bruh? What's going on? Like he's going to play those type of games in order to win the SEC. Georgia, I mean, Bama's, I don't know what Bama's looking like. It's looking rough for Alabama right now at the moment, but we still got to see LSU and Clemson play later. And I'm pretty sure that LSU, Brian Kelly, Garrett Nussmeier, and those guys and company, that's going to be a good game. And we'll see what's up with that. But you got to be tough to win in the Big Ten or the SEC. He went against one of the top teams in the SEC, just didn't really show that well. Cliff is up in here. What up, Cliff? What's going on with you, bro?
What's going on, bro?
Ain't nothing, man. Just up in here, chopping it up on this Arch Manning situation, man. On this Arch Manning real quick, you know what I mean? Is he overhyped? Because that's the first thing. I didn't even get into my picks yet. I didn't even get into my college football picks. I didn't get into the Steelers topic or nothing yet. You know what I'm saying? I'm still on Arch Manning right now. Do you think that Arch Manning is overhyped? What you think?
I'm going to say no, and the reason I'm going to say no is because I just during the game, I found out that Matt Patricia was the new defensive coordinator. So I can kind of find out. I can kind of understand why he struggled today.
Mm-hmm.
We got to understand. Matt Patricia had 2 top 5 defenses when he was at the New England Patriots.
I get that. I
Won 2 Super Bowls. I watched a little bit of a breakdown. They did a lot of disguising, like pre-snap and then after the snap. So pre-snap, a lot of times he thought they were in man, and after the snap, it turned into zone. Now, I mean, on some of those, yeah, he should recognize that, but we got to understand he really only played, what was it, two full games last season, or was it just one?
And that's everybody. That's the point. I think that's what some people's point is coming from. Like, I mean, I'm not sitting here saying that he's trash. You know what I mean? I wanted to get everybody's opinion on it, but I think that's what I'm leaning towards is the overhypeness that everybody was talking about with Arch. Now, we told everybody to pump their brakes. We was like, hold up, now pump y'all brakes. You know what I'm saying? On Arch Manning. We've had this conversation before over on Rawhide's panel on the channel. And we told everybody, like, pump your brakes. We don't know what Arch is going to do. You know what I mean? He don't have the SEC experience, you know what I mean, to go out there and really say that. So, I mean, now the world is seeing that, you know, that his post-snap read is off. I guess that's what you're saying, right? You're saying his post-snap read is off.
I mean, he hadn't seen anything like that. It's the first game. He probably hasn't seen anything like that. And like you said, you know, everybody say pump the brakes. I agree. He's a different type of man.
You went out a little bit.
And what I mean by that, if people have done their, oh, you hear me now? Trucking.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. You're good.
Okay. What I was saying was he's a different type of Manning. And people go say, what? But if you do your research, he's more like his father, Cooper.
Okay.
Cooper was the more athletic Manning.
Okay.
That didn't, go to the pros and things like that. So those are the genes he's gotten. Even though he plays quarterback, he's more athletic than Peyton and Eli. And I'm not saying, he's not as smart as those two, because actually I think Peyton was the smartest out of all of them. But it's going to take time for him to see things and get acclimated. So in a way, if we want to look at it like everybody was hyping him, I guess you can say it was overhyped. To me, it was a learning experience for him today.
Agreed.
And I think it'll bode well the rest of the season, because he can go back and he can look, and we know NCAA can be a little bit of copycat league. I don't know if they can be, they can do things to Matt Patricia's level as far as being exotic on the back end, but he's had those reps now. Big game in front of a lot of people on the road is going to bode is going to bode good for him for the remainder of the season. That's how I feel.
Okay. I mean, look, I'm just like I've been saying. Like, look, man. Look, I don't think. Now, I just don't think that. Obviously, he wasn't ready for what he's seen. I knew he wasn't. I had a feeling he wasn't going to be ready for what he's seen today. A more complex scheme defense called by Matt Patricia. You know what I mean? The post snap reads. But he's going to see that in the SEC, and he was already ranked number 1 in the SEC, above Garrett Nussmeier, above quarterbacks who've played in the SEC last year and had more playing experience than Arch Manning. Now that everybody see what's going on, now it's like it's just kind of like, how should I put this? How could I put this? Okay, it's just so many people out there were just putting him already on this pedestal to where when there's no way but to fail after you see a game like that today, regardless of what schemes he's seen, what everybody talked about, what everybody's out there been saying about him and how they're feeling. Now, me, myself, I expected this kind of game out of Arch Manning. I really did, especially going up against one of the top teams in the Big Ten. But he's going to face more of that in the SEC. This is not going to be the only game. Now, will he pick it up later? Yes. Do I think that Arch Manning needs to come out in the draft next year? No. Because if he can't handle, and it's just my opinion on this, if he can't handle an Ohio State called by an NFL defense, you can pretty much say called by Matt Patricia, he needs to stay because this is only his first year. So technically, this is his rookie year in the SEC. He needs to stay another year. Forget about drafting him next year, everybody in the NFL, and work on your craft. You still got one more year. You're only a junior. You're a true junior. You know what I mean? You got a senior year. Stay there, work on your craft, and get better. And that's it. You know what I mean? So it's shocking to a lot of people to see what they saw today. You know what I mean? Like, he was surrounded by a little bit more. I mean, it's a team sport. You know, he had a great team, and I still I still think that Texas is a great team. Texas is great. They're good. And they're going to be fine. You know what I mean? They'll be fine. Ohio State is just nothing to play with. They got a great staff, a great program over there. The way they run it, the way that they recruit players, they do an excellent job at what they do up at Ohio State. They don't spend all that money for no reason. And I know some Texas fans out there may be hitting the panic button, but don't hit the panic button right now. Texas fans,
oh no,
he's new. You know what I mean? He's new, and it's a shame that. And where I was getting at, Cliff, is like, you know how a lot of people in media are friends with Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, and this has nothing to do with him and his kids. The same thing is going on with the Mannings. A lot of people in the media that do media are friends with the Mannings, that family. So they won't fairly critique Arch in the mainstream media due to his last name. So that's why I said that he's this year's Shador, because now you got people in the mainstream who are not going to get fair critiques on Arch and say, you know what, Arch needs to learn. They're like, he's going to be a first-round draft pick. He's a Heisman favorite. After today, I don't think he is. But I'm just saying, like, you know, all that comes with his last name, and it's unfair to him. And when when professionals are afraid to do their jobs due to their personal relationships, things get misconstrued. You know what I mean? And now there's the misinformation on who he is. He will get better throughout the year. He needed this game. I thought that in the fourth quarter, when the pressure was on, I think it was under 3 minutes. He made some good throws. It was when it was quick, and he was decisive when he was allowed to, you know, take the training wheels off. He looked a little good in the fourth quarter, but there's, you know, he has some things that he needs to work on it and go through the process, man, before we crown him number one quarterback in the SEC, number Heisman candidate, so forth and so on. Like, he'll get there. Just give him time. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's all. I mean, also, me looking at the game, I think Sarkisian could have helped him out a little bit more. And what I mean by that is, you know, the physicality of hold on, trucking.
Yeah, go ahead, man. Answer that, man. Deal with that. Yeah, y'all. So, I mean, like, I think everybody in here, man, hit the like button. You know what I'm saying? I put the link down there in the chat or whatever, man. But that's my take on Arch Manning, man. Don't panic today. It's cool. I expected this kind of game out of him. I'm sure some Texas fans did. A lot of people, sometimes the mainstream, and that's just it with it. You know, the mainstream have a tough time being honest and critiquing people that they know. And I'm sure a lot of us know that by now. And don't get caught up in those hype trains. But moving on, man, to the next topic, man. I got a lot to get through before I get on up out of here today. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot to try to cover real quick in a short amount of time. So let me keep moving. You good, Cliff?
Yeah, I'm good. The only statement I want to finish was I just think he could have helped them in the run game more. Considering this was his first game in a hostile environment. Going in Ohio State, you got to come in there physical. You got to go in there physical. Your offensive line has to set the tone, and I think setting the tone would have been really running the ball. You were in too many third and long situations.
All right. So I'm a okay. So I'm gonna jump on this CU topic, Cliff. I'm gonna jump right up into this CU real quick. And I'll get into the Micah Parsons and everything, because I'm sure the people that jumped up in here said, I want to hear about that CU thing. But that's what I got to say about them. Shout out to Ohio State getting a victory today, man. I knew they was going to step up. By the way, Julian Sand played good. I thought that Ohio State player had a good game defensively, a great game defensively. Looked like they ain't miss a beat. Looked like Ohio State did not miss a beat to me. Look like they should be the true number one team, but we'll see when Ohio State and Penn State clash this year, who's really going to carry the title right now. But don't be sleeping on Georgia. I see what Gunnar Stockton doing. I know it's against Marshall, but Georgia, those trenches, that's where it's at. That's where the game is won at. That's where the game is won. So let me make that clear. Let me jump up into the CU game. Now, I know we talked about this a little bit last night, so I really don't want to spend too much time talking about it, Cliff, the CU game. But look, Colorado versus Georgia Tech, man, it was a good game. But we gotta be honest, right? Because I don't think that everything that I said last night on Raw's channel, Coach Prime said when I watched the press conference. Everything that I was saying, I think he admitted it. So let me start with some of the positive things that Colorado looking forward with before I get into the negatives. Let's do it like that. Let me start with some of the positive things, building on what Colorado can do moving forward and what I like. I like the fact that Colorado ran the ball. They had 143 yards combined with everybody who touched the ball. Between Caden Salter and Michael Welch, they had over 100 yards. I like the fact that he looked really good, Michael Welch. I think that he needs to touch the ball a little bit more moving forward. I'm sure that they will work on that moving forward. Trust Caden Salter because he can play. His best attribute is his legs. I thought that he should have used his legs a lot more in the game. And a lot of people seen that. I was not the only person that's seen that. I've seen Coach Prime say that. I've seen some other fellow content creators say that. I've seen a lot of people say that. The trenches has gotten a lot better. He had time back there to make Pat to throw the ball at times, even though he didn't pull the trigger as much, and then at times he should have ran. He tried to throw the ball. But look, they're looking like a football team. They look like a football team. It looked like Pat Schumer actually ran his offense. That looks a little promising. There's some things that got to be worked out there within the line, and they'll get that throughout the year. Things like that will happen. Now, moving into some of the bad things that obviously it's obvious, right? 3 turnovers. It can't happen. And that's any football game. In any football game, that's just basic rules of football 101. In football, you're up in the game. There's 3 turnovers. You got to turn those into some kind of points. If you get points off of those turnovers, even if, let's just say they kicked 2 field goals and scored a touchdown, you know what I mean? Off of every one of those 3 turnovers. And they were in plus territory, right? They win the game. You know what I mean? And that's why it's so important to capitalize off of turnovers in the game. But the defense, I think, at time, like I couldn't obviously missing Colton Hood wasn't a big deal this game. It didn't really show up because Georgia Tech is not that much of a passing threat, and that's why I think they should have been attacking them deep. But I still want to hit the panic button on them, man. I don't want to hit the panic button on CU. I think they played a good football game, and they let this one slide from them. They let them get away, and I took Georgia Tech to win this game, obviously. And I think that they're a very good program. Georgia Tech is still a good program, but they played very sloppy. That was a Georgia Tech team at its absolute worst. You know what I mean? And that's scary a little bit to me, just being honest about it. You know what I mean? That was an absolute worst Georgia Tech team. That was not Georgia Tech at their best, none whatsoever. However, I think that people need to pump the brakes on saying take Caden Salter out. I know he only threw it to Omarion Miller one time. He tried to hit Draylon. I think he dropped the pass and overthrew him on another one. But you can't take him out of the game. He is the nucleus of that offense. He keeps everything moving. He's going put it this way. Let me just make it simple for y'all. The way that Thomas Castellanos looked with Florida State against Alabama is the way that Caden Salter is to Colorado right now. He's going to open up things for Michael Welch. He's going to open up for the downfield passing game. All that will come together. I think he had those first game jitters. Look, he didn't look like Caden Salter from last year. I mean, you watch his last year film, he didn't look like that. He looked very frustrated. He's got targets. He's leaning towards the year before last, and that's promising for Colorado fans out there. Not to hit the panic button on that, but I had to get that out because yesterday, for some reason, when I mentioned the 3-toner, it was like, they played a good game. Like, we got to be honest. You know what I mean? They didn't play a good game, but there was things that looked good in the game, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? There was things that looked good in the game. And that's just what it is. And I'm sure that every fan out there will agree with me. And we didn't play good, but there was some positive things in the game. You know what I mean? There was a lot that they've learned in that game. There was some things we saw in the game that we really liked, but they shot themselves in the foot. And that's just it with that. I'm not going to harp on it too much. I spoke on it last night, but I just wanted to come out here and clarify that to everybody out here, man. Now, I got the link down there if y'all want to bring that up in conversation. You got anything you want to add on that, Cliff? Or are you good? All right, Cliff. I think Cliff might be out of here, y'all. I don't know. I'm not sure.
No. As far as my assessment of Colorado was, they look much faster. They didn't look as slow. Of course, the offensive line did well, but one knock I have is you do have to capitalize on those 3 turnovers.
Absolutely.
You gotta get more than just 7 off of 3 turnovers.
Absolutely.
And it came back to bite them. Now, defensively, even Deion said it. You can't let a team rush for that many yards on you.
Period. I said that last night too. I mean, no, you can't. And I'm not being funny. No, you can't. Even if that's Georgia, a very good Georgia Tech team, like what they're doing, you still cannot allow 315 rushing yards. No, you can't do that.
You're not going to win too many games doing that.
Mm-mm. No, you're not.
So, even Deion knows he's got to straighten that up.
Absolutely, man. I mean,
Salter. I think Salter on a couple of plays was trying to show that he's not just a runner.
Mm-hmm.
On a couple of them throws, I would have preferred for him to take off than to try to make the throw.
Yeah, for sure, man. Coach Prime said that too, man. I mean, a lot of us seen that too, Cliff. A lot of us seen that out there yesterday. Like, if he'd have used his legs a lot more, he should have had a $150 on the ground, and that game is won easily. You know what I mean? Colorado controls that game. I mean, yeah, you see him earlier, that high energy swarming to the ball. That defensive line, I will say this about that defensive line at Colorado. The trenches impressed
Who
me,
you break?
man. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that from the trenches.
Um,
I did not expect that.
I had a little bit of a feeling that the offensive line was going to be better. I don't know too much. I didn't know too much about the defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
They started off well, but as the game progressed, they were getting blown off the ball. So I don't
Yeah.
know if that's who. I don't know if that's who's playing, if that's the technique issue, or what. But yeah, they have to. They got to improve that defensive line.
You know what?
Most definitely.
I think the defensive line, when I haven't actually studied the film or you know, a little bit, because I've learned a lot from a lot of people out here. I have. So thank all y'all. But because I really learned a lot out here, enough to know gap assignment and run fit, right? And it just seemed like the linebackers wasn't hitting home. Like, that's why I said missing. I knew missing Nikhai Hill-Green. I knew missing him, that he went to Alabama, right? I knew missing him was going to affect that defense a lot because the way he attacked the gaps. Now, were they there? Were they moving right to left? It's very hard to defend when that pin and pull is happening, because you using a tackle and a tight end to the opposite side. The whole defense is going to move that way. Now you're countering that, going the other way. It's not easy. It looks on film, you be like, oh, he ain't doing his job, but it's on the field. You got to put body on body. You know what I mean? And I think what happened was they were in man. I correct me if I'm wrong. I have to go out, and I will come out and say it. But it seems if they move to a man, and that's the last thing you want to do is move to a man when they're pin and pulling like that. You want to sit in the zone, sit still, and control your area. You want to sit in your zone because you want to lock down and control your area. You want your linebackers staying home. You want stay home, read and react. You know what I'm saying? Because it makes it'll make it, you know, easier to read. Rather, if you're, because when you're in a man, you have to attack. You know what I mean? I got to try to get to the running back. I have to follow the tight end. You know what I mean? The tight end, I'm responsible for the tight end now, and it's body on a body. Versus if you're sitting in the zone and you're zone blitzing, it's easier to control that area. Now, look, I could be wrong. Now, somebody else might come out here, but from what I've learned and what I've gathered, that's what I think they messed up at in the defensive situation. And I'm sure that it'll get fixed and everything. They'll work on that and it'll get fixed. But as far as at times, like it's crazy to say this, because like they went through a lot of rotations they were rotating a lot on that defensive line, because look, that offensive line is one of the best, right? They're a veteran offensive line. I think all of them are like seniors. Last night we heard that was it 70 something or Ruffledge or something like that. Excuse me, Georgia Tech fans, but he was an All-American last year and one of those big guys. And they did corral them, but they did their job to the T, man. They did their job to the T. It's hard to do that, but if I'm looking at it, like I'm still impressed of what went on, because I think that early on they had the game and they fought them. They fought them to the end. They fought them to the end of the game. Like Georgia Tech still couldn't get ahead, even though they ran for that many yards, and that can't happen. They still fought them to the end of the game, the whole game. And that to me shows the heart of a team, because they could have easily said, look, man, we just getting whooped on. These big old bay helen, you know, hay bell picking white boys is just trucking us right now. Like, man, I'm tired. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't. They fought. They fought for 60 minutes. And for that, you know what I'm saying? That goes a long way in my book because I love playing with heart. I love seeing the toughness. And I think that they got that. Do they got to work on being more physical? But yeah, getting smacked in the mouth this early and on in the season could be a good thing for them. You know what I'm saying? From when you face that adversity this early on in the season that Colorado had, getting smacked in the mouth like that, now you like, okay, yeah, that's not happening to me ever again. You know what I mean? There's only, you know what I mean? What kind of man are you? Are you that kind of man that's going to let the guy pick you up and slam you? Or, you know what I mean? Because he's a pro wrestler. But when he goes to do it again or something like that, is you going to just keep letting this man bully you? Or is you going to get your weight up, let your nuts hang, and go back at him? You know what I'm saying? That's it. Now we're going to see how they respond for the rest of the season. I think that, but look, I've seen them, and I was saying this for a long time out there, Cliff and everybody, man, that this game for me, watching Colorado play Georgia Tech, even though I took Georgia Tech early on to win this game, it was going to be a barometer game for me to judge and see how Colorado was going to perform in the Big 12. And to me, I think they're Big 12 ready. I think they're Big 12 ready. I think they look. I'm probably not going to change my predictions because I think it's still going to be tough. There's some tough teams on that schedule, but I think they're one of the middle of the pack, maybe even one of they may even rise above the middle of the pack and be one of the top teams in the Big 12 once again. You know what I'm saying? We'll have to see on that because I've seen toughness. And the main thing you needed to do is be able to protect your quarterback. I think the one sack, Nat McChesney explained that very well. I think that was supposed to be a design quarterback run. I thought it was a covered sack. So either way, it would have been good. Whether it was just me off site before I seen him break down that film, he said it was a design quarterback run and the lineman didn't pick up the correct lineman or whatever. And the play didn't happen. But I just thought it was a covered sack because Georgia Tech in the red zone did really well covering guys. But either way it go, look, they just didn't give up none. So kudos to them, man. Big ups to Colorado and Georgia Tech on a big win, man. That was a great game we watched last night. Moving on, man. I'm trying to move on to the next one. I think we're gonna talk about Micah Parsons before I get up into my Pittsurgh Steelers. I got some things to go through, but look, y'all can because I know y'all still watching y'all games and everything out there, but I appreciate y'all tuning in and rocking out with me, though, for sure. Definitely appreciate y'all tuning in and rocking out with Truck and Chubb because this is lit. All right. Micah Parsons, man. As y'all all know, Micah Parsons got traded. He got traded to the Green Bay Packers. Now, I know some of y'all out there right now is saying to yourself, well, yeah, we know Micah Parsons got traded, but they've been talking about this all week. You about to talk about it? Get damn right. I'm late, great, like wine. You know what I mean? It just aged better in time. Everybody else had their chance to say what they had to say about it. I've been sitting on it all week. I'm in the truck driving all week. You know what I'm saying? Because that's where I got to work at. You know, I got to work doing that until this actually works and pans out. So hint to y'all, right? But in this trade, I think early, it's too really, honestly, it's just an opinion because it's too early to really tell who actually came out better with this, and that's just logic. But for the sake of just barbershop talking with the fellas and the ladies that want to be part of the sports conversations, you know what I'm saying? We all rapping, talking about sports. Look, and a lot of people are leaning towards Dallas winning this trade. And I understand that. I really do understand why a lot of people are taking Dallas in this and saying Dallas came out better on this because they got 2 draft picks and they got what 2 draft picks in this, if I'm not mistaken. They traded their defensive lineman, Green Bay did, Kenny Clark, and that's Kenny past 2 years, but I think that the value of the running back is going to go back up because it's very important because you got coaches that are committed to running the ball. Eric Sirianni and even the Chiefs done it to win their Super Bowls. The Eagles obviously won the Super Bowl last year with running the ball well. Jim Harbaugh running the ball. He's done that, and he's going to do that. He's going to, and we're trying to do that now in Pittsburgh. And I'll talk about us later. I'll talk about us later and how important it is to stop the run. Now, Michael Parsons, we know he's fast and everything. His run game support wasn't always there, right? However, Kenny Clark, what his pass, he's always, this is his 2023 film, right? I'm just letting y'all know, if Dallas can get this Kenny Clark, Green Bay's going to miss him, right? They're going to miss him because he was not only a pocket pusher in the pass game, but he's also good in run support. However, I think last year he was better at run support more than he was a pass rusher. And I think that Green Bay missed that in him, right? And that's why Green Bay said, we need to get a pass rusher. We need to get pressure on quarterbacks. That's killing us. We need to help our DBs. So if you ask a Green Bay fan, they'll probably say we spent too much on getting Parsons because he inked a $188 million deal that was worth $136 million guaranteed. And then when you really break it down, they said he was getting $47 a year. But when you put all the taxes and breaks downs up there in Wisconsin, it's only worth like $25 million. So could he have took that and stayed in Dallas? Sure. But I still think he's at a contending team in Green Bay. So to me, early on, and just spitting it out early on, I think both teams got what they wanted and what they needed from each other. I think it was a fair trade. And I'm breaking it down and letting y'all know here's why I think it's a fair trade for both teams. Because when you look at this film on Kenny Clark and what Kenny Clark is able to do, if Dallas can get this run support, right? And like I said, Green Bay needs a fast edge rusher type of guy to help out because they're an impact player on that said team. That's what Green Bay does. They draft really good. They develop their guys, and they wind up being well. So we'll see what Michael Parsons does. And so early on, that's what Trucking is saying. Both teams made out with this trade. That's it. That's all. That's really all I got to say on that. Because when you look at what both guys can do and going at both teams, you look at where they were missing on the defenses. Did Green Bay drop a bag on them? Of course, because it's the market. It's the market. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I hate to bring up illegal stuff, but sometimes, and I'm sure all of us done at some point in your life, you smoked a bag of some good bud. I don't care who you is. I don't care what you're doing now. At some point in your life, you did it or you was around it and you knew it. That's just what it is. So kids, plug your ears. I hope ain't no kids listening to my show. But it's the same thing. The market just moves. The market moves with anything. The houses. When we get raises at jobs, when the government say they're going to give us more money, the rent goes up all of a sudden. Landlords, you know what I mean? Your mortgage goes up. The interest rate might go up on your mortgage. You might have to, when you refund, you know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. It's the market. You got to pay. He's one of the top guys in the league. Now, is he better than Myles Garrett? Is he better than TJ Watt? Probably not, because both of those guys have proven themselves both in the passing game and in the rush game. He's more behind. I would put Michael Parsons in that Crosby category. I wouldn't even say that these past couple years, Hendrickson has surpassed Michael Parsons, to be honest. I would say that. You know what I mean? Like when you look at it, but he's not in the elite top tier of pass rushers. He's right below that. You know what I mean? He's with those other guys. Like I said, he's Hendrickson, Crosby, but Hendrickson trying to creep up there with Myles Garrett and TJ Watt right now. So he's trying to lead that stratosphere. You know what I mean? But he's definitely one of those guys, and you just got to pay the market, man. So I'm not tripping. I think both teams made a great move, man. I really honestly do. I had time to hear what everybody else had to say. People are leaning so far right, so far left on this particular topic with Micah Parsons. Oh my goodness, the Cowboys, they let him go, but Jerry wasn't playing. Now, and that's some other questions I had about Micah Parsons and this whole thing, like, because I talked about the importance with stopping the run in NFL and how important it's going to be, especially when you got to play Philly in that division. Having Kenny Clark there is going to be very important for Dallas, right? Playing Washington, they're going to establish the run. You know, pushing that pocket back on those quarterbacks, making those quarterbacks time and go up and help out with that DB room is definitely important for Dallas. Definitely. Now, did Jerry Jones fumble? I don't think so. I do not think so. I do not think that Jerry Jones messed up in this at all, because I think he got 2 draft picks out of the deal. He allowed one of his players to go to a contending team, so I don't think he completely shit on Micah Parsons. No. I mean, it is cold in Green Bay. It might be undesirable in Green Bay, but Green Bay is a franchise that wants to win, despite what anybody may think about how small Green Bay is, only 100,000 people. They do want to win in Green Bay. They do have prestige. That is a prestigious organization over there. So I think it was like, look, you know, we going to part ways. I'm not about to drop that money on you. I spent money on guys right now, and I can't even win a damn playoff game. You know, that, and I see that it's almost the same thing that's going on in Pittsburgh right now. I'll be talking about them soon, but that's just what it is with Micah Parsons. And I don't think that Jerry Jones fumbled at all. I think Jerry Jones made a good call, and I think both organizations is going to come out great. How about that, y'all? Moving on to the next topic before these other games come on. I'm trying to move through fast as I can and not get hung up on everything. So y'all got to work with me, man. I be working, and I mean I be working, making these little slides and the y'all see the little topic changing thing down there and whatever else. That shit ain't no joke, man. I'm telling you, all that typing and all this and that. But I think I had one more that I was going to share with y'all, but I think I had one more like video or something that I was going to share. I got to make sure that I pull it up, because I think I had another video ready to share. Got to make sure before I move on and talk about my Pittsurgh Steelers. Although I think I got all the slots out with that, so that was pretty good. Now, my Pittsurgh Steelers, as far as my Pittsurgh Steelers is going, right? Pittsburgh Steelers fans, let's get it. Let's get this Steeler talk in. Because you know I can't do a show without talking about my Steelers. I think it's disrespectful. I'm going to be trying to cover Buffalo, Philly, a little bit of Cleveland. I'm in that area, so I think it's only fair. A lot of people have been asking me to do that a lot more, to cover those teams, because people that I know like those particular teams. So that's just what it is. I want to grow. I like what I do. So I'm probably going to be doing that moving forward. Anyway, the Pittsburgh Steelers. We have wide receivers. We got a problem with wide receivers right now. We just do. So I'm calling it the Pittsburgh narrow receivers, because it's narrow. We ain't really got receivers. That's a problem. And but when you look at our division, the only team that really has receivers right now, and that's weird to say Pittsburgh don't have receivers, right? Ain't that weird? Because you look at our past teams and you look at some of the great receivers we had, like Antonio Brown. We had Martavius Bryant. We had guys that come through. Come on, man. We had a lot of guys. Like, do I got to keep naming them? Hines Ward, Antoine Randall, he did well when he was with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I go back to Yancey Thigpen, dog. Like, we've had receivers in Pittsburgh for however long you want to talk about it. They get guys in later rounds, develop these guys, and they start cooking. Who was that guy supposed to be this year? It was supposed to be Rock Taylor from Memphis. He was supposed to be that undrafted guy, receiver that came to Pittsburgh and got right. But for some reason, after the preseason game and at a joint practice, he got into the doghouse with Mike Tomlin. And Mike Tomlin didn't like what he did. Mike Tomlin did not like what he did. And for some reason, he got to move on. Because look, we all business with this organization. We want to win. You got to work hard, and you work hard, you play hard, you get great rewards. That's just what happens in Pittsburgh. And for some reason, Rock Taylor just didn't work out. I was hoping he was, because he's a big body receiver who's willing to get his hands dirty in the run game, and he's a dog. He's a dog. You got to watch him, man, from Memphis, man. And I thought he was going to work out under the tutelage of DK Metcalf. He was going to work out. But now we're leaning our offense heavily on DK. And that scares me moving forward just a little bit. And here's why, y'all. This is why. Because Calvin Austin's health is a problem with me. Him staying healthy. He got injured his rookie year, had to sit a year, come back, and he's always dealing with some kind of injury. And I wonder, is it something with these 5'8", 5'9" receivers who are only weighing 175, 185 pounds that are really quick? They're always sustaining these lower body injuries. And I don't know. I don't want to put him in a box or anything, but he just can't stay healthy. And that's a problem. So now he's questionable, right? So now we have to go to a number 2. And I think, is it going to be Roman Wilson? I don't can we really depend on Roman Wilson right now? I mean, honestly, I think he played well up at Michigan. I think he played well enough. He's got to believe in himself. Roman Wilson has to embrace who he is on this team and not get starstruck at looking at, the guys and putting so much weight on it. You came from Michigan. Not only did you come from Michigan, Rome, you played on a national championship team. Come on. You know what I'm saying? You just ain't nobody, bro. It's about time people know who you is and making a statement. And putting it down and believing. Because I really don't want to have to depend on, and look, no offense to Scotty Miller. I don't want to put him in that box and say he's just a one-trick pony. Scotty Miller is, but we know he's a flyer. We know he's been used to go down a field, stretch the field, catch those deep passes. Or Ben, I can't even pronounce his last name. Excuse me if I get it wrong. Ben Skarak or something like that. I can't even pronounce his last name. Excuse me for saying that. But he's more of a special teams guy. He still needs development himself. And that's who we have to depend on at receiver right now in Pittsburgh. It's a problem. And that's why, to me, right? So what do we do? Do we activate Robert Woods from the practice squad? I mean, because we have to get a legit number 2, or didn't Kenneth Gainwell from Philly that played running back, wasn't he playing receiver at one point in time? Could we use him in the slot? I mean, we got enough backs. I mean, if we really needed to go heavy, couldn't we put the ball in Connor Hayward's? I know this sounds crazy, Pittsburgh fans. I know it does. But couldn't we put the ball in Connor Hayward's hands? When he was at Michigan State, he played H-back, fullback, tailback, tight end. He did it all. I mean, he can be a nice third down back, short yardage, third down, goal line type of situation back. Or, you know what I mean? Or just to come in for a play. We got backs, right? And I'm confused, because we need that slot position filled, right? Kenneth Gainwell can play the position. I know he can. We can stretch him out. Well, I don't know if we'll use him like that. This is just me speculating and throwing my ideas out there. with the team. That's all I'm doing right now, Pittsburgh Steelers fan. That's all I'm doing, literally. You know what I mean? I'm throwing something out there and seeing if it stick to the wall. You know what I mean? I'm being honest. And then, like, you look at the way that, and what does this mean for the offense moving forward with Pittsburgh, with the Steelers? What does this mean? I'm like, gosh, we got tight ends. That's it. Tight ends. The tight ends. Jonnu Smith, Darnell Washington, Pat Freiermuth. We got 3 tight ends. Heavy personnel. I know it's weird to say that. Well, ain't nobody really running a wing T in the NFL. Nobody's doing that. They're not running 3 tight ends. They're not running 2 tight ends. I swear the Patriots that they played very well with Aaron Hernandez and Gronk. Very well. And I don't think that that's a far off. I think that's what we have to do. We have to utilize those tight ends as if they're wide receivers. We're going to have to do that, right? We want to be physical. We want to run the ball. We want to have presence. You want to open up the field. You want to make it tough on the DBs and tough situations. That's how we do it. But I'm like, okay, now I'm getting on somewhere. But where am I going with this, right? Because you got heavy sets, which is the jumbo. Now I know, I know, right? But nobody's doing it. And you can attack, and you don't always need to put a fullback when you go heavy, or you go ace. Could we see some I formation in this? Because we don't have receivers. We have to play to our strengths. But we got tight ends, and it's a matchup nightmare when you're trying to put a linebacker on Pat Freiermuth or Jonnu Smith or Darnell Washington, or even a DB. Those are some big body dudes, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, look, I could be street dreaming or whatever. I'm just saying. And there's so much you can do moving forward. Now, is this going to fit the Arthur Smith system? I don't know. I really don't know if it's going to fit Arthur Smith's system. But where do we go for receiver? Because that's a problem that we are having right now, Steelers fans. We don't know what we're going to do. Like, we have one receiver. Who's going to step up? Is somebody going to step up on this team at receiver and really lock down this number 2 spot? Or are you going to get your hands dirty in this run game? Because I tell you what, that's what we need. That's what we need right now. And I mean, I'm just throwing things out there right now because I really think that Atlanta may have dropped the ball with not signing Nick Nash. I didn't follow the Falcons enough to know exactly how he performed in at camp with the Falcons. So, I can't go there and just say, oh, he for sure, was bad. He didn't help in the run game. His route running wasn't there. It's hard for me to believe somebody who played quarterback can't play receiver. You know what I mean? Like, and I know, yeah, we've seen it in the past. There's guys who's always played quarterback or had quarterback experience and struggled at the wide receiver position. However, he led the NCAA last year ahead of Travis Hunter, the Heisman winner. The Heisman, he led. He had more. And granted, he played San Jose State, but I think he played some very tough teams. Like, he didn't play against the worst Mountain West teams, right? Mountain West Conference teams. He was in the G5, correct. But he didn't play the worst of them. He played UNLV, did well. Boise State did well. I know he racked up most of his yardage against other teams. I think he played Washington State last year, Oregon State. He played some good teams. He showed up. He's a big body guy. He's out there on the Atlanta's practice squad. Is that a guy that we could be possibly going after? I mean, at this point, I think so. Because, look, he's there. We know he can play the position. We know he knows how to use his body. He has a little bit of speed. He's athletic, and maybe we can go ahead and try to develop this guy, bring him up here, get him around DK, and let's go to work. But other than that, I feel confident in our defense, right? I feel confident in our defense. I think that our offense will be able to move the ball. They will figure it out with what to do, even if we have to constantly go with 2 tight ends on the field, but we still need that second guy. And he has to be clutch. He has to be clutch because we know DK is. We know DK is. But that's what I had for that, y'all, because receivers is a problem right now. It just is. And that's the only thing. I don't know how y'all feel out there, Steelers fans. Oh, by the way, did Shiloh get picked up by the Steelers? I heard that. And I was like, I got to look that up. I don't know if we picked up Shiloh Sanders or not. I want to check it out, though, to see if Shiloh Sanders got picked up by the Steelers or was that just a bad rumor? Because I don't know if it was true or not. The Steelers just made a clear stance on Shiloh Sanders, crystal clear. Steelers just made their stance on Shiloh Sanders, crystal clear. Okay. I don't think that we took him. Did we take him? I don't think so. Do I got a problem with Shiloh? No. I don't have a problem with Shiloh. I think he's a good person. I think that he's like one of those type of guys Mike Tomlin might have. I think it would be perfect on special teams for us, you know what I'm saying, or something like that. We'll give him that type of opportunity, his toughness. He's just Shiloh Sanders is out. He's like outdated to me with his style of play. You know what I'm saying? Like, more physical guy, and you can't play that position. And I did say this before. I was like, why don't Shiloh put on some weight and move the linebacker? I said that 2 years ago on David Talks Buffs when I was with him and Raw, and they just looked at me like, you're bugging. You're a new dude out here and you're bugging. I'm like, why am I bugging? I was like, I'm not bugging on that. Like, I really, and I said that a couple years ago, honestly, but nobody would never know because obviously who's watching me, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's cool. But I said that. And I think that's okay. That's logic. That's logical. Like, okay, like he gets broke down. You know what I mean? I think ever since his shoulder injury, he hasn't really played the same. His tackling, and it's because the way he hits, right, is I think that's how he ran into the shoulder injury or whatever. But I still think he can play that position, right? Because he can put you in the mind of like, and I didn't say he was. He puts you in the mind of guys like a Jamal Adams, right? You know what I mean? That they're strong in the pass, but a physical kind of guy, right? Guy that's probably going to get penalties back there because he's going to play physical with you in the game. Pause. But yeah, I just think that I didn't think that was bad for him to do that, to make that transition that way. You know, put on a couple more pounds, move the linebacker. Will he slow down? Maybe, but not that much to the point where maybe he's even able to carry that weight. You know what I mean? Maybe he's able to carry the weight. You know, that's all I'm saying. And if not, you know, some special teams, I don't know. But I think going in as a DB, as a safety, I think that kind of hurt him in the NFL because, you know, you're not going to make that. They want their safeties to run all over the field. They want their linebackers to run all over the field too. But, I mean, linebackers are getting smaller. But the physical nature of football is coming back now, and they do want their linebackers to weigh a little bit more now. You know, back then, linebackers was what, you know, early 2000s, 90s linebackers, it was in the 80s, what they was 250, 260 linebackers. You know what I mean? Strong, solid, you know. And now a linebacker, you know, just 3-4 years ago, linebackers 215, 225. You know what I mean? It was good to be 225 at linebacker. But who knows, man? The game has changed, it has evolved, but that's all I had to say, man. But now I know y'all want to get back to watching our games because I know I interrupted y'all watching y'all football games, and I appreciate y'all coming in. Hope y'all hit that like button. I appreciate y'all clicking in here, man. I got like 39 up in here right now, and I'm cool with that. But I'm gonna go ahead with my game picks, y'all, because I ran through my topics, man. You know what I'm saying? I spoke out on Arch. I didn't give him a hard time. I didn't go too deep on it. I think I gave a fair critique on Arch. I think I gave fair critique with Colorado. I think I gave fair critique about Micah Parsons and Kenny Clark. Talked about my Steelers, and now I'm moving on to the game picks because the game's about to be coming on if they're not on right now. So let me hurry up and get on because they're 7:00 now, right? LSU and Clemson. Now, the SEC had a pretty rough run earlier with Texas, but look, I think it was slightly disrespectful. I know that Dabo Swinney and Clemson is supposed to be the number one team in the country, and they got guys returning. They on fire. But look, I think Brian Kelly is about to make a turnaround, y'all, and I believe in Garrett Nussmeier, man. I think Garrett Nussmeier is it. He threw for over 4,000 yards in the SEC. I think he's going to come out, lead this LSU team that's on fire and these guys. And I think LSU's coming with some fire flame to Clemson today, man. I think this is the year things turn around for them, man. I'm rolling with the SEC, man. I'm sorry to say that, man. I'm going with the LSU Tigers, man. Straight up, y'all. I'm going with the Tigers, man, for the win. I'm going with the Tigers. Yes, I am. When it comes to Virginia Tech and South Carolina, why do I got this game up here? Well, because Kyron Drones got to show up. He got to show up at some point. He has to show up and play good. Now, they had a good pass rusher last year. I know they lost their pass rush from last year. Will they replace those guys? We don't know. We'll see. But we do know Kyron Drones is leading that offense over there. And we know Virginia Tech with that Brent Pry. You know, you got to step up. Huge game for them. I don't think that this is out of reach. South Carolina lost a bunch on defense. Lalora Sellers been hyped all season about he's a Heisman favorite candidate. One of the top draft picks supposed to be this year. Got another one of those guys in this game. South Carolina being at home and being in the SEC, though, I think I'm going to roll with South Carolina on this game. It's crazy, I think, but I'm rolling with them. I think this should be a good one, though. I'm hoping it's a good one. I am, but I'm rolling with South Carolina in that one, SEC. Last but not least, shout out to my dog, Coach Hayes. Shout out to Law Dog. What up, dog? You know what I'm saying? Cliff, I picked Notre Dame earlier on to win this game. But I had no idea y'all didn't know what y'all was doing at quarterback, Notre Dame. Now, do I think that he's going to coach that team up at Notre Dame? Do I think that the fighting leprechauns is going to do it, mate? Me want me gold. The leprechaun said. Them little leprechauns said, me want me hurricanes. You know what I'm saying? You ever seen that movie with Warwick Davis? Me want me gold. 100 albums sold, 100 football sold. On the football, it's cold. In Miami, it's hot with a lot of thoughts. And the Irish are coming to put on it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, corny, whatever. But all I do know is I'm saying, look, Notre Dame, and I got to say right now that I believe in Carson Beck. Carson Beck, why ain't nobody talking about Carson Beck from Georgia under Kirby Smart? Mario Cristobal has done it again. Yeah, he had teams up at Oregon that he recruited well. He didn't win. But he always had some dang on good quarterbacks coming up through there. And he's doing the same thing in Miami. He went and got Cam Ward, first round pick. Probably should have got the Heisman, but I don't know. Listen. Carson Beck. And that's tomorrow game. I'm going to be watching it, man. I'm going with the U, dog. I'm going with the U, man. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm going with the U. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Carson Beck is one of the smartest quarterbacks in college football, man. I don't know why people sleeping on him. I got him in my top 5 quarterbacks to be drafted in the first round. And it's a lot of it has to do with Cristobal. The man knows what he's doing when he's looking at quarterbacks. Now, do Now, man, he know how to run a whole organization or bringing in the right coaches or I don't know about that. But as far as when it comes to college quarterbacks, he got a good history of doing it. And when you look at Carson Beck, if a bad year for him is throwing 10 interceptions, was it 10 or was it 8? Then damn it, if he can just do what he did last year, but I don't. You don't want that many interceptions, Miami. No, we don't. But I'm just saying, even if that happened on this Miami team, they still a playoff team. I believe in Carson Beck, man. I'm sold on that, man. Look, I appreciate y'all rocking out with me, man. I really do, man. Y'all need to keep coming through. Share the content, man. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Hit the notification bell, y'all, because I'm always dropping videos throughout the week. You're always getting shorts from me throughout the week. You're only getting me live one time a week unless you go over there on the Rawhide panel. Go subscribe to Rawhide because I'm on the panel over there with my dog. You know what I'm saying? I'm always on the panel throughout the week over there. You know what I'm saying? Kicking it. So y'all make sure y'all show some love and y'all go over there and y'all tune in to us over there also. Because that's what we do. All right. We keep it real. We keep it in the fam. Go check out Really Flawed. That's the homegirl. That's the sis. You know what I'm saying? That's our own personal. No, she ain't no Mina Kine. She ain't no Jamel Hill. She is Really Flawed. She's the dopest out of the circle. Coach Hayes. Check him out. Content. We got a whole circle of content. You got neck bone takes. You got the back of the bus with Alpha Rue when he breaking down film. There's a whole lot of content you could just work in a circle while you watching Truck and Chubby. Just go in the circle and watch everybody because we can fill up your whole day with great football talk and great football content, man. You dig? Appreciate y'all kicking it. And y'all know how I give it up. Y'all pray for each other, pray for yourselves, but also y'all pray for me, man. I know how we do it, man. Peace.